I never thought my life would turn into such a mess. Everything was fine before, or at least I thought it was. Then came that day when everything changed so fast. It started with a small secret, something I never wanted to believe, but it grew into a storm that shook my family. Now, I feel lost and scared. I don't know who to trust anymore. My heart is heavy, and every day feels like a battle, but I can't give up. I have to find the truth and protect myself. This is my story. It all began when Jay, my sister's boyfriend, started acting strange around me. At first, I thought it was nothing, just normal, friendly behavior. But one night, at a party, he told me something that made me freeze. He said he had feelings for me. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Jay was with my sister. How could he say that to me? I felt uncomfortable and confused. I wanted to tell my sister, but I was scared of what might happen next. I found my sister right after Jay's confession. I told her everything, hoping she would understand and believe me, but she didn't. Instead, she accused me of lying and being jealous. I was shocked. How could she think I would try to hurt her like that? I just wanted to protect her from someone who wasn't honest. My mom also took my sister's side. Suddenly, I felt alone in my own family. My heart broke that day. After that night, things got worse. My sister and mom stopped talking to me. They ignored me like I wasn't even there. My dad was the only one who tried to listen, but it wasn't enough. Jay still came around the house, acting like nothing happened. It made me feel unsafe. I tried to avoid him, but he kept pushing to be near me. I didn't want to accept gifts from him or talk to him, but they made it seem like I was the problem. I started spending more time at my grandparents' house. They listened to me and believed my side of the story. It was the only place I felt safe. My dad would call and check on me, and that helped a little. But I knew I couldn't stay away from home forever. I was a senior in high school, and I needed to finish school with my family around. Still, the thought of going back scared me. How would I live with the tension and lies? When I finally went back home, things didn't get easier. My sister acted sweet sometimes, but I knew it wasn't real. She and Jay tried to act like everything was fine, but I saw through it. They pushed me to accept Jay's expensive gift-a-figurine of a character from our favorite anime. I didn't want it. It felt like a trap. I told them both to leave me alone, but my sister said I was ruining the family peace. That hurt more than anything. One evening, Jay and my sister forced their way into my room. I locked the door, but they blocked it. I shouted for my dad to come, but my sister shut the door and leaned on it, crying and begging me to listen. Jay tried to touch me, and I pushed him away, telling him not to. My dad knocked, but they wouldn't open for him. I felt trapped and scared. Why couldn't they just leave me alone? My dad finally came up and told them not to force me to talk. My sister begged me to forgive her and accept Jay. She said she understood I was upset, but still told me I should stop liking Jay because he belonged to her. That was ridiculous and cruel. I told them both to leave my room, or I would run back to my grandparents. My mom started crying and said I was going too far, but I didn't care. I needed peace, and they were destroying it. Since then, Jay keeps knocking on my door, pushing me to take his gift. My dad told him to stop coming near me, but that caused fights between my parents. My sister said it was unnecessary, claiming Jay wasn't interested in me and that I was the one with the problem. She even said I ruined the family happiness by telling the truth. That broke me again. How could they all turn against me? I feel like I'm invisible, a shadow in my own home. I don't know what to do anymore. I want to leave, to escape all the pain and lies, but I can't run away forever. I want to believe things will get better, but every day feels like a new fight. My family is divided, and I'm stuck in the middle, trying to survive. I hope someone will finally hear me. I hope I can find a way to heal. Until then, I will keep fighting for my truth, no matter how hard it gets. The days after that were hard. I tried to go about my normal life at school, but my mind was always at home, worrying about what would happen next. Every time I thought things couldn't get worse, they did. My sister ignored me even more, and my mom kept acting like nothing had happened, like she was trying to pretend everything was fine, but I knew better. I could feel the tension in the house like a storm ready to explode. Jay didn't stop trying to talk to me. He would wait outside my door, call my name, and ask me to take his gift. I kept saying no, but he wouldn't listen. Sometimes, I felt scared of him. I didn't know what he was capable of if I ever let my guard down. I tried telling my dad again, but the fights between my parents made it hard for him to do anything. My mom always said Jay was harmless and that I was just being difficult. My sister's words hurt me more than Jay's. She said I ruined the happiness in the house and that I was jealous and obsessed. It felt like a knife twisting inside me. I never wanted to hurt her or break her relationship. I only wanted honesty and respect. But they all treated me like I was the villain. I started doubting myself. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe I was imagining things. But deep down, I knew the truth. One night, after dinner, I sat in my room feeling so alone. My phone buzzed with a message from Jay. He said he missed talking to me and hoped I would forgive him. I wanted to scream at him, tell him to leave me alone forever. But I didn't reply. Instead, I called my dad. Hearing his voice calmed me a little. He told me he was trying to protect me and that I was brave for standing up for myself. School was a distraction, but even there, I couldn't escape the stress. I was quieter than usual, avoiding friends because I didn't want to explain what was happening at home. I felt embarrassed and ashamed. I just wanted my family to believe me and for things to go back to how they were before Jay came into our lives. I missed the days when my sister and I were close, and we laughed together without secrets or lies. My grandparents were my safe place. Whenever I felt overwhelmed, I would call them or visit. They listened without judging, always telling me I was strong and that I deserved to be treated with respect. My grandfather told my dad to ban Jay from the house, and for a while, it seemed like maybe there was hope. But my mom and sister fought hard to keep things the same, making it clear they didn't want Jay gone. I felt trapped between two worlds, one where my dad and grandparents supported me, and one where my mom and sister stood with Jay. I didn't know how to fix it. Every day, I wished someone would see things from my side, but they only saw the story Jay and my sister told. It felt like I was shouting in a room full of noise, and no one could hear me. That loneliness was the hardest part. Jay's gift stayed in my sister's room, but he kept bringing it up. He acted like it was a peace offering, but to me, it felt like a reminder of everything that went wrong. I didn't want anything from him, especially not something that came with so much pain. My sister said I should accept it to make up, but I refused. I wanted nothing to do with their fake apologies or forced smiles. One afternoon, my sister tried to come into my room again, this time without Jay. She wanted to talk and say sorry, but I wasn't ready. I told her I needed time and space to heal. She looked sad and angry, but I had to stand my ground. I couldn't trust her after everything. I wondered if she even cared about how I felt, or if she only cared about protecting Jay and keeping up appearances. My mom kept asking me to join her and my sister for a girls' day out. She said it was a chance to make up and forget the past, but I didn't want to pretend anymore. I told her I wasn't ready and that I needed to take care of myself first. She cried and said I was being mean. It hurt to see her cry, but I couldn't let my feelings get pushed aside again. I had to protect my heart. At school, I started writing in my journal again. Putting my feelings on paper helped me clear my mind and understand what I was going through. Sometimes, I wrote about how much I missed my sister before all this happened. Other times, I wrote angry words about Jay and how he ruined everything. Writing became my way to survive, to stay strong when everything else felt like it was falling apart. One day, a teacher noticed I was quiet and asked if I was okay. I thought about telling her, but the words got stuck in my throat. How could I explain something so messy and painful? I just smiled and said I was fine. But inside, I wished I had someone to talk to who wouldn't judge me or take sides. I needed a friend who would just listen and believe me. At home, my parents kept arguing about Jay. My dad wanted to protect me, but my mom was scared of losing her daughter and Jay's support. I overheard them one night saying things that made me realize how divided our family really was. I felt like a stranger in my own house. I wanted to cry and scream, but instead, I just stayed silent and hoped for a miracle. Jay tried to be nice sometimes, but it always felt fake. Like when he talked about the expensive gift or acted like nothing happened. I hated how calm and confident he seemed, like he had already won. I wished I could tell him how much pain he caused, but I didn't want to give him the satisfaction of knowing he hurt me. I wanted to be strong and not show weakness. One night, after a long day at school, I locked myself in my room and cried. The sadness and frustration were too much to hold inside. I wished I could run away and start over somewhere new, where no one knew my story. But I couldn't leave my dad or my grandparents behind. They believed me and gave me hope. So I wiped my tears and promised myself I would keep fighting. My sister sent me a text, asking if we could talk. Part of me wanted to reply and try to fix things, but another part was scared she would just hurt me again. I didn't answer. Sometimes, silence felt safer than opening the door to more lies and pain. I didn't know if I could ever trust her again, but I still hoped one day we could be close like before. I started spending more time with my friends outside of school. Talking to them helped me forget the problems at home for a little while. They didn't judge me or pick sides. They just listened and made me laugh. Those moments felt like small rays of sunshine in my dark world. I realized I needed people like that around me, people who cared about me for who I was, not the drama I was caught in. One afternoon, my dad sat down with me and said he was proud of me for being strong. He told me that even if things were hard now, they wouldn't last forever. His words gave me hope. I knew he was trying his best to keep the family together, even if my mom and sister didn't see things the same way. I felt lucky to have him on my side. Jay's presence in the house was still a problem. Sometimes, I caught him watching me or trying to talk when I clearly didn't want to. It made me uncomfortable and scared. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to tell my dad, but I was afraid it would make things worse. I felt stuck between wanting to protect myself and not wanting to cause more family fights. I decided to focus on my schoolwork and future. I wanted to graduate and get away from all this drama. It gave me something to look forward to, something positive to hold on to. I told myself that no matter how hard things got at home, I had to keep going. My dreams were bigger than the problems around me. I was determined to build a better life, even if it meant standing alone. Days passed slowly, but I kept pushing myself. Every morning, I reminded myself to be strong. School was a safe place compared to home, even if I felt tired and distracted. I wanted to focus on my future and not let the problems around me break my spirit. Sometimes, I caught my reflection in the mirror and wondered who I had become through all this pain. But I promised myself I would stay true to who I was inside, a person who deserved kindness and respect. Jay kept trying to act like everything was normal between us, but I refused. I didn't want to pretend anymore. When he knocked on my door with that stupid gift again, I told him firmly to leave me alone. My dad supported me and told Jay to stop bothering me, but my sister was angry. She said I was making things worse and that I should just get over it. I didn't want to get over it. This wasn't something I could just forget. My sister stopped trying to talk to me directly. Instead, She started avoiding me completely. She acted like I didn't exist, which hurt even more than the fights. It was like losing a best friend. I missed the way we used to laugh and share secrets. Now, the silence between us was heavy and cold. I wished I could reach out and fix things, but I was afraid she would just push me away again. One night, I cried myself to sleep thinking about how broken my family had become. I wanted to scream and tell everyone how unfair it was. Why didn't they believe me? Why did Jay get to keep his place in the house while I was the one being treated like the bad person? I felt invisible, like my feelings didn't matter. I wished I could disappear and start over somewhere far away from all this hurt. School was hard, but I found comfort in small things like my favorite anime and drawing. When I drew, I felt free. I could create a world where I was safe and happy. Sometimes, I imagined a life where my family was whole again and where I could trust my sister. Drawing helped me stay sane. It was my way to escape the pain and hold on to hope. Even when everything around me seemed dark, my dad called me every night to check on me. His voice was like a warm hug over the phone. He reminded me I wasn't alone and that he was fighting for me. Knowing he believed me gave me strength. Sometimes, I wished he could live with me all the time, instead of going back and forth between houses. I needed him nearby to feel safe. He was my anchor in the storm. Jay's gift stayed untouched, in my sister's room, but he kept mentioning it, as if it would fix everything. I hated how casually he acted, like his apology was enough to erase all the pain. It wasn't. The gift wasn't a peace offering, it was a reminder of how much he had hurt me. I refused to accept it or forgive him, no matter what my sister said. My mom tried to act nice sometimes, but it felt fake. She wanted things to go back to normal quickly, but I wasn't ready. When she asked me to join them for a family dinner, I said no. I needed time to heal, and I didn't want to pretend everything was okay when it wasn't. It was hard to explain that to her because she just wanted peace, even if it meant ignoring my feelings. I started writing letters I never sent. In those letters, I told Jay and my sister how much they hurt me. I wrote about feeling betrayed and alone. It helped to get my feelings out, even if no one else saw the words. Writing was my secret way to scream without making noise. It made me feel less trapped, even if the real world didn't change. One day a friend at school noticed I was sad and asked if I wanted to talk. I hesitated but finally shared a little bit. It felt good to tell someone outside my family what was happening. She didn't judge me or take sides. She just listened. It reminded me I wasn't completely alone. There were people who cared about me, even if my family didn't seem to. Jay kept showing up in the house, even after my dad told him to stop. My mom and sister argued with my dad about it all the time. It was exhausting listening to their fights. I wished they would stop and focus on fixing the family instead of blaming each other. But I knew grown-ups sometimes acted like kids too. I just wanted peace more than anything. My sister's words still echoed in my head, telling me I ruined everything. Sometimes, I believed her. I wondered if it was my fault all this happened. Maybe I should have stayed quiet and kept my feelings to myself. But then I remembered how Jay made me feel, and I knew I did the right thing by telling the truth, even if no one else saw it that way. I started spending more time at my grandparents' house again. Their kindness and support were like a warm blanket on cold nights. They never judged me or made me feel small. Being there reminded me that not all families were broken, and that love could heal even the deepest wounds. I wished my whole family could understand that school started feeling less stressful when I focused on my goals. I worked hard on my classes and dreamed about college. I wanted to prove to myself, and everyone else, that I could be strong, no matter what happened at home. My future felt like a light at the end of a dark tunnel. I clung to that hope every day. Jay's constant presence was still a problem. One time, he tried to talk to me when I was alone in the kitchen. I told him to leave me alone, but he just smiled like he didn't care. I didn't like how he looked at me, like he thought he could control me. It made me feel unsafe, and I wished my dad would be home more to protect me. My sister's anger sometimes scared me. When she yelled at me or blamed me for the family fights, I wanted to run away. But I stayed because I hoped things would get better. I hoped she would see me as her sister again, not an enemy. I didn't want to lose her, even if it hurt to be around her. One evening, I sat alone in my room and thought about what I wanted for my life. I wanted happiness, peace, and a family that believed me. I wanted my sister back and a home where I felt safe. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I promised myself I wouldn't give up. I would keep fighting for what was right, no matter how hard it got. Jay's gift still sat in my sister's room, untouched by me. Sometimes, I wondered if accepting it would make things better, but then I remembered all the pain behind it. I decided I didn't owe him anything, not forgiveness, not a second chance. I was learning to protect myself first, and that was okay. My mom finally stopped asking me to join the family outings. I think she realized I needed time alone. Sometimes, she looked sad when she saw me by myself, but I didn't have the energy to explain. I just wanted space to heal and figure things out. Maybe one day, we could be a family again. But for now, I needed peace. Every night before I went to sleep, I prayed for strength. I prayed for my family to find a way to heal. I prayed for courage to face whatever came next. I knew I wasn't alone. My dad, grandparents, and friends believed me. That gave me hope. Even when everything felt broken, I held on to that hope tightly. One morning, I woke up feeling a little stronger. The fights still echoed in my mind, but I decided I wouldn't let them control me today. I got ready for school, trying to put on a brave face. Sometimes, just going through the day felt like a victory. I reminded myself that healing took time, and every small step counted, even if others didn't see it. At school, I found a quiet spot in the library and sat there during lunch. It was peaceful and helped me calm down. I took out my sketchbook and started drawing Gojo, the anime character Jay had given me as a gift. I drew him with a strong and confident smile, someone I wished I could be. Drawing helped me feel better and forget about the problems waiting for me at home. That day, a classmate came over and complimented my drawing. It surprised me because I didn't usually share my art with others. We started talking about anime, and for a moment, I felt like I could be myself without fear or judgment. It felt good to connect with someone who liked the same things as me, even if it was just for a little while. When I got home, the house was quiet. My mom and sister were in separate rooms, and Jay wasn't around. It was the first peaceful evening in a long time. I sat on my bed and thought about how much I wanted this calm to last. I didn't want to go back to the fights or the lies. I just wanted to breathe without feeling scared or angry. I tried talking to my mom that evening, hoping we could start fresh. I told her I needed her to believe me and support me. She listened quietly, but I could tell she was tired and sad. She said she was trying to understand, but that it was hard for her too. I didn't expect everything to change overnight, but I was glad she didn't ignore me this time. The next day, my sister didn't say much to me. She avoided my eyes and stayed in her room. I felt sad, but I didn't push her. Maybe she needed space too. I hoped that one day we could talk like we used to. I still cared about her, even though things were broken between us. I missed my sister, the one who laughed with me and shared secrets. Jay didn't come to the house for a few days. It was a relief. Without him around, I felt safer and less anxious. My dad said it was good for all of us to have some space. I agreed. I hoped Jay would finally understand that his presence was making everything worse. I wanted to believe things could get better if we all just took a step back. One afternoon, I found an old photo of me and my sister when we were younger. We were smiling and holding hands. It made me cry because I remembered how close we used to be. I wished we could go back to those days before Jay, before the secrets and lies. But I also knew that things had changed, and I had to find a way to move forward. School was starting to feel less overwhelming as I focused on my goals. I spent more time studying and less time worrying about home. My teachers noticed I was working harder, and some even praised me. That made me feel proud. I wanted to prove to myself that I was stronger than the chaos around me. My dreams mattered, and I wasn't going to let anything stop me. I kept writing in my journal every night. It was my safe place to pour out my feelings. Sometimes I wrote angry words, and other times I wrote hopeful ones. Writing helped me understand myself better. It reminded me that even though I was hurt, I was still growing and healing. I wasn't broken. I was just learning how to be strong in my own way. One evening, my dad surprised me with a small dinner. He wanted us to have a quiet night together, just the two of us. We talked about school, friends, and the future. For the first time in a while, I felt normal. It was a reminder that even when life gets hard, there are moments of kindness and love that keep you going. I was grateful for him more than words could say. Jay's gift was still sitting in my sister's room. I never touched it, but it felt like a silent threat every time I thought about it. I wished I could throw it away or burn it, but I didn't want to cause more trouble. So, I ignored it and focused on the things I could control, like my studies, my drawings, and my feelings. My sister started coming out of her room more, but she still avoided me. I tried to smile and say hi, but she looked away. I wanted to ask her why she was so angry, but I was scared of her answer. Maybe she blamed me more than she said. Or maybe she was just hurt too. I didn't know how to fix our broken bond, but I hoped time would help one day. My mom sat down with me and said she wanted to understand better. We talked honestly for the first time in months. She admitted she didn't know how to handle the situation and felt torn between me and my sister. I told her I just wanted her to believe me and protect me. She promised to try harder. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. I told my dad I wanted to start counseling. He agreed and helped me find someone to talk to. The idea scared me at first, but once I started, it felt good to share my feelings with someone who didn't judge me. Talking helped me see that my feelings were real and valid. It gave me tools to cope with the pain and hope for healing. Jay tried to apologize through a message once, but I didn't reply. His words felt empty after everything that happened. I didn't want to hear more lies or false promises. I needed space to heal without his presence. Blocking him on my phone felt like reclaiming my power. I was done being afraid of him and his games. School friends became my new support system. We talked about everything from homework to our dreams and fears. They helped me remember that I was worthy of kindness and respect. Having people who cared reminded me I wasn't defined by the drama at home. I was more than the pain I had been through. One afternoon, my sister and I crossed paths in the hallway. We didn't say anything, but I saw tears in her eyes. I wondered if she missed me too or if she was still angry. Maybe both. It hurt, but I didn't try to fix it right then. I decided to wait until we were both ready to talk without anger. My mom and dad started spending more time together, trying to fix the family. They still argued sometimes, but I saw moments of kindness too. I hoped their love for us kids would bring healing. I wished I could believe that things would be okay again, but I knew it would take time and a lot of patience. Every night, I prayed for peace in my heart and in my family. I wanted my sister back and a home without fear or fighting. I knew the road ahead was long, but I promised myself to keep holding on. Hope was the only thing I had left, and I wasn't ready to let it go. A few days later, I found a letter slipped under my bedroom door. It was from my sister. Her handwriting was shaky, like she wasn't sure what to say. She wrote that she missed our old friendship and wished things hadn't turned out this way. The letter didn't solve everything, but it gave me a little hope. Maybe she wanted to heal, too. I kept the letter in my journal and read it when I felt lonely. It reminded me that even though we were hurt, there was still a chance for us to fix things. I didn't reply yet because I wasn't ready to face her. But the letter showed me that maybe, one day, we could talk honestly again. At school, I started focusing more on my future. I dreamed about going to college far away, where no one knew me or my family problems. The thought made me feel excited and scared at the same time. Maybe that distance was what I needed to heal and grow. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I wanted something better. One afternoon, my counselor asked me what I wanted to be in the future. I told her I wanted to help kids like me, kids who felt lost and misunderstood. She smiled and said I had a kind heart. That moment made me feel proud of myself for the first time in a long time. I wanted to believe that my pain could lead to something good. Home was still difficult, but I found small ways to feel safe. I spent more time in the backyard, reading books or listening to music. Nature helped me feel calm and reminded me that life goes on even when things are tough. I hoped that one day I could find peace inside myself, like the quiet outside. My sister started coming down to the kitchen more often, but she didn't speak to me. It was strange, but better than before. I tried not to be angry at her. Maybe she was scared or confused too. I wanted to reach out, but I didn't want to push her away again. Sometimes silence was the only way we could cope. One evening, my mom asked me to cook dinner with her. It was awkward at first, but as we worked together, I felt a little closer to her. She told me she was sorry for not protecting me better. I didn't know how to respond, but I knew she meant it. It was a small step, but it felt important to try. Jay didn't come around much anymore. I heard from my dad that he was giving space, because things were tense. I was relieved. I didn't want him in my life, or my sister's. His actions had caused too much pain. I hoped my sister would see that too one day and understand why I spoke up. School projects became my escape. I threw myself into my work and made new friends who didn't judge me. It felt good to be part of a team again and to forget about family problems for a little while. Those moments of normalcy gave me strength to face whatever came next. One afternoon, my sister left a book on my desk. It was one we used to read together when we were kids. I didn't know if it was a peace offering or just a reminder of better times, but I kept it. It made me think that maybe healing could start with something small, like sharing a story. I spent a lot of time thinking about forgiveness. I wasn't sure if I was ready to forgive Jay or my sister yet, but I wanted to try. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting what happened, but it meant letting go of the anger that was hurting me. It was hard, but I wanted to be free of the pain. My dad encouraged me to keep talking about my feelings. He told me it was okay to be upset and scared. His support meant everything to me. I didn't want to let him down. I promised myself I would keep being honest, even when it was hard. I knew he was on my side, and that gave me hope. At night, I sometimes felt lonely and scared. The silence in my room was heavy. I missed the family I thought I had, but I also knew that my safety and peace were more important than pretending everything was okay. I reminded myself that it was okay to put myself first, even if others didn't understand. One day, my sister came to my door and knocked softly. She didn't say anything, but her eyes looked sad. I didn't open the door. I wasn't ready yet, but her visit meant something. Maybe it was the beginning of something new. I hoped that with time, we could talk without fear or anger. School was getting harder, with finals coming up, but I stayed focused. My counselor helped me make a study schedule. I wanted to finish strong and make my family proud, even if they didn't always support me. I was determined to prove to myself that I was more than the problems at home. Jay's gift was still in the house, untouched and unwanted. Sometimes I thought about burning it, but I didn't want more conflict. I wanted to heal, not make things worse. so I left it alone and tried to focus on the future I was building for myself. One day at a time, my mom and sister started spending more time together, and I saw them laughing once or twice. It was strange and made me feel left out, but I didn't say anything. Maybe they were healing in their own way. I hoped that one day I could be part of those happy moments again. I wrote a letter to Jay in my journal, but never sent it. I wrote about how his actions hurt me and our family. Writing helped me release my anger without causing more pain. Sometimes, putting my feelings on paper was all I needed to feel a little lighter. My dad told me he was proud of me for staying strong. Hearing those words gave me hope. I wasn't alone. Even when things felt dark, I had someone who believed in me. That belief kept me going, reminding me that I was worth fighting for. I started dreaming about a future where I was happy and free. I imagined a life where my family was healed and where I could love my sister without fear. Those dreams felt far away, but I held on to them tightly. They were the light guiding me through the darkness. One afternoon, my sister left a small note on my desk again. This time it was just a simple, "I hope you're okay." It wasn't much, but it made me feel seen. I didn't respond, but I kept the note. It was a tiny step toward peace between us, and maybe one day we could rebuild what was broken. I started writing stories to escape my reality. In my stories, there was no pain or betrayal, only kindness and hope. Writing gave me a safe place to be myself. When my family felt like a storm, my stories were the calm I could hold on to. It reminded me that even in hard times, I could create something good. School became a place I looked forward to, even when home was difficult. My teachers noticed my hard work and told me they believed in me. Those little compliments gave me strength to keep going. I wanted to make a life where I wasn't defined by my family drama, but by my dreams and actions. My dad talked to me about forgiveness one evening. He said, "Forgiving didn't mean forgetting or accepting bad behavior, but freeing myself from anger." I wasn't sure I was ready, but I wanted to try. Holding on to hate felt like carrying a heavy backpack I didn't need. Maybe forgiveness was the first step toward healing. Jay's gift was still in my room, untouched. Every time I looked at the figurine, I felt a mix of anger and sadness. It was a reminder of everything that had gone wrong. I wished I could erase the memory, but I couldn't. Instead, I told myself I wouldn't let it control me anymore. My mom asked me to join her and my sister for a movie night. I hesitated, but agreed. We sat awkwardly on the couch, the silence louder than the film. Still, it was a start. Maybe these small moments could build a bridge back to each other. I didn't know if it would work, but I wanted to try. After the movie, my sister smiled at me for the first time in weeks. It was a small smile, but it meant something. I smiled back. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Maybe we could find our way back from the hurt, step by step, with time and patience. One night, I wrote in my journal about my fears. I was scared the family would never be the same, and I might always feel alone. But I also wrote about hope that things could change, that people could grow, and that love might find a way back to us all. I started talking more with my dad about my plans after high school. I told him I wanted to leave for college and start fresh. He listened carefully and promised to support me. Knowing I had his support made me feel braver. Maybe I could build a new life where I felt safe and loved. Sometimes, I caught my sister looking at me when she thought I wasn't paying attention. I wondered if she missed me or felt guilty. I wasn't sure, but I wanted to believe that under all the anger, there was still love. That thought gave me strength to keep trying to heal. The house felt quieter without Jay around. It was like the storm had passed, but the clouds were still there. I hoped the calm would last, and maybe one day we could all breathe again, without pain or fear. I wanted to believe that peace was possible. My mom started attending family therapy sessions with us. At first, It felt strange and uncomfortable, but slowly, she opened up. She apologized for not believing me sooner, and said she wanted to help us all heal. It wasn't perfect, but it was a step toward rebuilding trust. During therapy, I learned that feelings are complicated and sometimes people hurt the ones they love by mistake. That helped me understand my sister and mom a little more. I still felt hurt, but I started to see that we were all struggling. Maybe we could find a way through together. My sister and I had a long talk in therapy. We both cried and said things we hadn't said before. She admitted she was jealous and scared of losing her boyfriend, and I told her how much I felt betrayed. It was painful, but honest. For the first time, I felt like we were really listening to each other. After that talk, my sister and I started spending more time together again. We didn't fix everything overnight, but the walls between us were breaking down. We shared memories and laughed sometimes. It felt like the family I missed was slowly coming back to life. Jay stopped coming around completely. My sister told me she ended things with him because she realized how much damage it caused. I didn't feel happy or relieved. I felt sad for her. I hoped she would find someone who truly loved and respected her. School ended, and graduation was near. I felt proud of myself for making it through such a hard year. I knew my family wasn't perfect, but I was ready to step into the future with hope. I was ready to make my own path and leave the past behind. On graduation day, my family came together. It wasn't perfect, but it was the best it had been in a long time. My sister hugged me and whispered, "I love you." My mom smiled, and even my dad looked proud. That moment showed me that healing was possible, even after so much pain. After graduation, I packed my bags for college. I felt nervous and excited. Leaving home meant leaving some pain behind, but it also meant starting fresh. I promised myself I would keep working on forgiveness and trust, even from far away. Before I left, I sat down with my sister and mom. We talked about the past and promised to be honest with each other. It wasn't easy, but it felt good to say the truth and hear their promises too. I felt ready to move forward, carrying the hope that family could heal and grow stronger. Leaving home was harder than I thought. As I closed the door behind me, a mix of sadness and relief washed over me. I knew I was stepping into a new chapter, but a part of me still worried about what I was leaving behind. I promised myself I would stay strong and not let the past define me. College was different from anything I expected. I met people from all over, each with their own stories and struggles. It made me realize I wasn't alone in feeling lost or hurt. Making new friends gave me a fresh start and helped me believe in the possibility of a happier future. I found comfort in the campus library, where I spent hours reading and writing. It became my safe place, just like my stories at home. When I wrote about hope and healing, I wasn't just imagining, I was telling myself what I wanted to believe. Writing became my way to process everything. One day I joined a support group for people dealing with family struggles. Hearing others' experiences helped me feel understood. It was comforting to know that pain wasn't something I had to face alone. Sharing my story gave me a sense of relief and connection I hadn't felt in a long time. I kept in touch with my dad, who was my biggest supporter. His calls and messages reminded me I had someone who believed in me no matter what. Even when things felt tough, knowing he was there gave me courage. He reminded me to focus on my dreams and keep moving forward. My mom and sister sent messages, sometimes trying to rebuild bridges. At first, I ignored them. I wasn't ready to trust again, but as time passed, I realized forgiveness was a two-way street. I wanted to heal, and maybe they did too. So, I decided to take small steps toward them cautiously. I invited my sister to visit me at college during a break. She hesitated but agreed. When she arrived, we spent hours talking about everything that happened. It was awkward but honest. We laughed, cried, and slowly began to understand each other again. It felt like the start of something new. That visit gave me hope that maybe our family could find peace. I realized that no matter how hard the past was, we could choose to build something better. It wouldn't be easy, but it was possible. And sometimes, that hope was all I needed to keep going. Back at school, I started thinking about my future more seriously. I wanted to study psychology to help others like me, people who struggled with family and trust. Turning my pain into purpose gave me motivation. I knew I couldn't change the past, but I could use it to help others heal. One night I dreamed about my family happy and united again. It felt so real that I woke up smiling. I realized that healing wasn't just about fixing the past, but about imagining a better future. That dream became my goal to help my family and others find peace. I started volunteering at a local center where I met kids going through tough family problems. Listening to their stories made me feel stronger. I shared my experiences when they wanted to hear. It was healing for both of us. Helping others made me feel like I was growing beyond my pain. My sister called me one evening and asked if I wanted to talk. I was nervous, but agreed. We had a long conversation about forgiveness and trust. It wasn't perfect, but it was honest. I told her I still needed time, and she said she understood. That call made me feel closer to her again. My mom surprised me with a visit during finals week. At first, I was hesitant, but I let her in. We spent the weekend cooking and talking about everything, our hopes, fears, and dreams. It was the first time in a long time I felt like we were a family again, even if just for a little while. College ended, and I prepared to come home for the summer. I felt excited, but also nervous about facing my family again. Would things be different? Would old wounds reopen? I promised myself to stay strong no matter what. I was ready to try. Coming home, I noticed small changes. My sister smiled more, and my mom seemed less tense. We didn't talk about the past much, but the atmosphere felt lighter. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. I hoped that, with time, the cracks in our family would heal. During summer, my sister and I started doing small things together, cooking, watching shows, even going for walks. These moments helped rebuild our bond. It reminded me that families don't have to be. My parents attended family therapy again, this time with more openness. I saw them listening to each other and trying to understand. It gave me hope that healing was possible, even for adults. Sometimes grown-ups need help too. I realized forgiveness was a journey, not a destination. Some days I felt closer to my family, and other days the pain returned. But I learned to be patient with myself and with them. Healing takes time, and that was okay. One afternoon my sister gave me a small handmade gift, a necklace with a tiny heart. She said it was a symbol of our new start. I felt tears in my eyes. It wasn't about the gift, but the meaning behind it. It showed me she wanted to heal too, and that made all the difference. As summer ended, I felt ready to return to college, stronger and more hopeful. I knew challenges would come, but I believed in my ability to face them. I carried with me the lessons of forgiveness, love, and resilience. No matter what, I was determined to create a brighter future. Back at college, I felt different, more confident, and at peace. The distance from home helped me see things clearer. I still missed my family, but I wasn't as hurt by the past. Instead, I focused on my studies and the friendships I was building. It was a fresh start, and I wanted to make the most of it. One day, a professor encouraged me to share my story in a class about resilience. I was scared at first, but when I spoke, I felt a weight lift off my chest. My classmates listened with kindness, and some even shared their own stories. It reminded me that pain is part of being human, but so is healing. After that, I started writing a blog about my journey through family struggles and forgiveness. It was private at first, but soon more people began reading and commenting. There, Support made me realize that my story could help others feel less alone. It gave my pain a new purpose. I also met a group of friends who shared my love for anime and manga. We bonded over favorite characters and stories, which felt like a special escape from real life. Sharing these interests helped me build connections that were based on who I was, not what had happened to me. One weekend, my sister surprised me with a visit. We spent the day exploring the city and talking about our dreams. I saw a different side of her, a sister who wanted to heal too. It felt like we were becoming friends again, not just siblings. It was a beautiful moment I didn't want to forget. Despite the good moments, I still had tough days when old memories flooded back. Sometimes I felt angry or sad, and that was okay. I learned that healing isn't about forgetting pain but learning how to live with it and keep moving forward. My dad continued to be my rock. His support never wavered, even when things got hard. We talked about everything from school to family to my hopes for the future. Knowing he believed in me gave me strength to face whatever came next. As graduation approached, I felt proud of how far I'd come. The journey hadn't been easy, but I was ready for the next chapter. I wanted to use everything I learned to help others heal, just like I had been healing. After graduation, I started volunteering at a counseling center, working with kids and teens, dealing with family issues. Seeing their struggles reminded me of my own, but it also showed me how strong people can be. Helping them gave me purpose and joy. One day, my sister called and asked if I wanted to come home for a visit. I hesitated, but agreed. When I arrived, I saw my family differently, not perfect, but trying. We didn't fix everything overnight, but being there reminded me that love can grow again, even after pain. During that visit, my mom and I had a long talk. She apologized for not believing me sooner and for the pain it caused. I forgave her because I knew we all made mistakes. It felt like a new beginning between us, built on honesty and understanding. My sister and I spent more time together, laughing and sharing memories. We didn't need to talk about the past every time. Sometimes, just being with each other was enough. Our bond was healing. Slowly but surely, I realized that family isn't about being perfect, it's about choosing to stay, forgive, and love, despite the flaws. That truth changed how I saw everything. It gave me peace and hope for the future. Back at college, I started planning to study counseling full-time. I wanted to turn my experiences into a career where I could help others find light in their darkest times. It felt like my true calling. I met a mentor who believed in me and encouraged me to pursue my goals. Her support reminded me that we all need someone who sees our potential, especially when we doubt ourselves. Slowly, I rebuilt my confidence and self-worth. I stopped blaming myself for what happened at home and learned to trust my own feelings. I was becoming the person I wanted, to be strong, kind, and hopeful. Sometimes, I thought about Jay and the pain he caused. But instead of anger, I felt pity for him. I realized that holding on to hate only hurt me. Letting go was part of my healing. My family still had its challenges, but we faced them together. We learned to communicate better and support each other. The wounds from the past didn't disappear, but they no longer controlled us. One afternoon, my sister and I sat on the porch, watching the sunset. We didn't say much, but the silence was comfortable. It was a quiet moment of peace, proof that healing can be simple and beautiful. As I prepared to graduate, I felt ready to face the world. My past had shaped me, but it didn't define me. I was proud of my journey and excited for the future I was creating. I remembered the scared girl I was when everything fell apart at home. Now, I was someone who could face pain with courage and hope. That growth was my greatest achievement. Graduation day was filled with joy and tears. My family came, including my mom and sister. Seeing them there, smiling and proud, felt like a dream. It showed me how far we had come. After the ceremony, We hugged and promised to keep working on our family. It wasn't a perfect promise, but it was real. We knew healing was ongoing. I started a job at a counseling center, excited to use my education to help others. Every day, I met people who reminded me of myself. Helping them gave my life new meaning. I kept writing too, sharing stories of hope and healing. My blog grew, reaching people who needed to hear that they were not alone. That connection was powerful and humbling. One night, I reflected on everything, the pain, the healing, the growth. I realized that life is a journey of ups and downs. What matters is how we choose to move forward. I felt grateful for the people who believed in me and the strength I found within myself. I wasn't perfect, but I was enough. That truth was freeing. Looking ahead, I knew challenges would come, but I felt ready. My past was a part of me, but it no longer controlled my future. I was creating a new story, one of hope, love, and resilience. I dreamed of a future where my family was whole again, where we could laugh and support each other without fear. That hope kept me going on the hardest days, and so I keep moving forward, learning,